Good evening and welcome to Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms. This is Raph streaming to you live high above the keep in the hot air balloon. Tonight, as always, I have Neindorf with me. Neindorf, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well tonight. I've come a little feeling high off of a possible shout out. Maybe we'll have to talk about that later.
All right, yeah, I'm pretty excited too. As I think, what I'm going to do here now is start treating our podcast as a bit of a therapeutic session for me. As I mentioned last time, I'm looking at buying a house, and the roof on this house is just kaput. And to add to that also, it's built on a hill. And today I needed a structural engineer to come out and look to make sure it's not continuing to slide down the hill. Because at one point, 20 years, no, yeah, 20. It's a 40-year-old house built 1980, and
Oh, nice.
at one point it was sliding down the hill. Excuse me. And so they built a retaining wall, and now I'm not sure about the structural integrity of the retaining wall. So I've been joking with a few people that it's like I'm really selling this house. They're like, "Why are you moving in?" Like there's still a hole in the roof from the derecho that we had a couple of years ago. It's sliding down the hill. There's a fair bit of a mouse problem. So, anyways, so I'll continue to use this podcast as a therapeutic outlet for me, because that's what you guys get to endure now. All right, but that's
You've
enough.
seen the money pit, right?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, yeah. So to add to that, it's going to need a new septic field sometime in the near future. That I'm told is a lot. That's more than a Gen Zero hero, that's for sure.
Ouch.
Yeah, I might have to sell a Gen Zero just to finance that. All right. Well, despite all of that, I like the house. Great bones. If it stays on the hill. So I'll check back in next time and we'll go
Yeah,
from
keep us informed. This is very interesting.
there. Yeah. All joking aside, I like the concept of the house. I like the house itself. A little more space than we have now. So I think if we could get it for the right price, then it make up for some of the money pit aspects of it later in its life. All right, so why don't you take us to question of the day?
Yeah, so um, today I think this kind of came up in our Discord very recently here, and I think it's a good topic. We haven't really hit on this in a while, but what do you think the value today is of these PJ Survivor heroes? I mean, there's nothing much has changed in a while, and so I'm just I want to get your take. Are they worth more now? Are they losing value? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm afraid that they're losing value. At first that plus 15 stats was amazing, and two things have happened. One, heroes are leveling up, and so high rarity heroes like your legendaries and mythics are hitting level 10, and for those standpot heroes out there hitting level 15, and so that extra 15 bonus that you might have had on an uncommon or a rare that you sent out, it's starting to dwindle. And then I would say the other thing is, you're looking at stones becoming a lot more prominent. That adds +6. And you're looking
Oh
at
yeah.
the summoning bonus to level 5, which adds +2. And so right there, that's another eight points that a lot of these, so you're getting closer. You're within 7 of equalizing that PJ bonus. And then on top of that, you're competing against more heroes. So I guess I lied. There's 3. The third thing would be you're competing against heroes that just had great rolls, godly rolls during their first 5, 10 levels. And, you might have had a hero that just had average rolls. Or, like me, a Dragoon that has really below average rolls.
Ugh, yeah,
So
because he's a PJ, isn't he?
no,
Or
that guy is
not that
not. It's
one.
my summoner,
Okay.
who actually has had some decent roles. Who's a PJ Survivor, pretty high up there in the
Okay, nice.
stats department. But I just feel like the playing field has leveled, and so if there was extra value in the PJ Heroes, it was in the idea of the in-game land tournaments, and I'm just not sure when those land tournaments are going to drop. And by the time they do drop, you're going to have all these other competing, equalizing factors that are kind of leveling out the playing field. I guess that's my thought.
Wow. No, you hit all the points that I was going to make. Honestly, I think you covered it really well. I think the big question that just remains is what are the rewards of these tournaments going to be that are specific to PJ survivors? And on top of that, is it a one-time deal, or is this going to be an ongoing series of quests that they're going to be able to participate in?
Yeah,
So that's kind of
you're right. I totally
where I'm
forgot
at.
about that. And Meme Machine is over in YouTube chat saying, "No, pump my PJ Hero bags." That's a great point that I totally just zoomed past. That they did say that some of those tournaments were going to be PJ survivors only, right?
That's correct. Yep.
So yeah, I guess that yeah, that's
And I got to imagine some of the items or whatnot, or the loot coming out of that tournament. I would even suspect not for the winners, but even like the people who come higher in the rankings are still going to do very well. I think if anything, has proven in this game, it's that those who kind of go out and get it and take the risk are kind of seem to be rewarded a little bit. And I
yeah.
got to imagine these PJ survivors are going to keep on giving.
Yeah, I hope so. I haven't scanned the market for PJ Heroes recently. For a while there, they were selling for quite a premium, and I have no idea if that's the case or not.
Yeah, and I specifically never went and bought any. I just never searched them out. And I think when I'm looking for heroes, I'm typically trying to find a deal like near floor where it's got
Right.
the right combination. So PJ Survivors just really never came on my radar because they were always priced higher. But I didn't intentionally avoid them either. I'm just sitting on the same three that I had that, well, actually, no. I had three survive, and I swapped one with a guy in our Discord so that, I was looking at our combat corner
Hmm.
tool. I swapped the summoner for a ninja to make a well balanced squad of three. So I guess I am playing the game a little bit.
There you go. All right. Well, let's go on to the rest of our regular scheduled programming. Why don't you do a quick update on some of your development work that you have going on?
Yeah, so recently I finally got around to pushing out the extra summoning details for all the visual effects. So when you're comparing two heroes on our Hero Data app, you're now able to see all the chances. And we can pop that up tonight too after the podcast, and we're gonna do another little bit of a summoning party here. So that's the latest thing I've pushed out. The next feature I'm working on is probably going to be getting those visual alerts. It's just kind of to wrap out that feature. That's one of the genetic information pieces that you can't currently find easily in the market, and so having alerts set up for that, so you don't have to scan that all the time, is going to
Mm,
be useful.
I
So I
like
think
that.
that'll be the next thing I work on here pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm excited.
Some of those are pretty awesome. We've got some people on our Discord who really been chasing the elite and even trying to go for some of the transcendent like hairstyles and whatnot.
The
I don't know, it's pretty cool.
the
I gotta admit,
beard
I'm a little jealous.
the beard is epic. Someone
Hmm.
had what was the hero that had a beard the other day on they posted on our Discord and I was very jello. So
Oh, I know, and there's
yeah,
not many of them.
yeah, the bearded heroes. I need to start working on that. All right,
All
so
right.
also, we had some good conversations and some back and forth with some continued conversations with Sunbear, and it looks like we are all set to be whitelisted for the ADFK website. So that means that at some point here, and I'm hoping the next update, that you'll be able to find us in the merchant section, or excuse me, in the menu section. And somewhere here in the menu, you'll be able to get a direct link to their co-marketing page, and then we will be on the co-marketing page. So really excited about that.
I'm really glad that you decided to choose the name Adventures in DeFi Kingdom, so it puts an A. If it's like any other yellow pages, will be at the top.
At the top. All right. Yeah. We should have been Aaron's Adventures in DeFi
There you
Kingdoms.
go.
Yeah. Yeah, so that probably takes us to the AMA. There was a bit of a shout out for us at towards the end. So thank you, Sun Bear. It looks like there's a shout out for Bless, the Arena guys who have a great product, and also DFK Fight Club. And I actually got an email from Sun Bear today saying that he's been talking to Frisky about the product. He's thinking about it, and we're gonna get on a Zoom call soon. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Nice.
All right,
Yeah,
so
that's really cool.
what stuck out to you? I know we both missed the AMA. It was at Weird Time Central. What stuck out to you from Sandwich's notes?
I guess I liked the talk about the pools and how they're changing the LP around. I think that's healthy, and I think it's something that, sometimes people are resistant to because, you have that position and you're comfortable with it, and you kind of have to go make a change and keep up with everything. But, they're adding more pools is good, and I did like their point about more pools equals more gardeners are busy. And I think that's fantastic. Personally, I wish you would be able to garden even with non-reward pools. I don't see why we have a limit to how many gardeners you can have running at one time, but that's just my own kind of thought there, I guess.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll change that in the future. I the rebalancing of the pools I thought was good, and I have a bit of a take on this one, so I'll just come out
Uh,
with it.
let's
It
get it.
it
Let's hear it.
feels like Jewel X Jewel, especially now that they've started to announce that. I mean, I believe they are in the final stages with probably only two different possible suitors, and I think they've narrowed it down to two, and they actually want the community to ultimately play a large role and get kind of a majority consensus on which chain they're going to go to. And the advantage of having a majority consensus really just helps them feel like they're placating the needs of the community themselves. And so, anyways, I think we're really close to them making it over the hump. Is the feeling and the vibes that I'm starting to get, and so this is also #bullish here from Raf. So if that's the case, and you're a subscriber and you feel like Jewel, you should be bullish on Jewel, then you want to find the best place to invest your Jewel that has the least amount of impermanent loss. And that would be in
Sure.
the X Jewel pool. And so I think that this is actually an extreme sign of confidence in the game that they de-incentivize that one, because what they're trying to do is make their player base have increased risk with the places that they're putting their Jewel. And the fact that they de-incentivize that, I think, is actually a good sign in a really kind of reverse psychology kind of way. So what do you think about this hot
Interesting.
take?
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're going. Um, I think Dreamer had some comment in there that he almost made it sound like this was their plan all along, although I don't think any of us necessarily knew that. So
Yeah.
why that was their plan, I can only guess, but I believe that um, I think you're getting close. For me personally, I think the real question is why did ETH get such a big
Yeah.
position?
Yeah.
That makes me feel Polygon
I could see
is
that
the
for
is
sure.
the
And
that I don't know. For me personally, you're all of a sudden you're pumping ETH
yeah,
like
ETH is also, it's got
an
the
L1 for
impending
Polygon.
fork, and I
Yep.
mean, it just looks really strong right now. I mean, if you're a bit of a crypto degen, to me, there's no reason at this point why. I mean, there's no emerging altcoins, I guess, that I would group literally everyone else in, that I think could overtake ETH. And I think ETH now starts to stand a fighting chance to overtake Bitcoin. I think it's getting some real momentum lately.
Yeah, I hear you there, and I think the flippening everybody always calls it. I think it will happen over time. It's just a matter of I like to compare Bitcoin. It's like so Ethereum's kind of like a commodity, right? If I'm sitting on oil, if I bought oil, well, I can also turn that oil into gasoline and burn it, use it to drive a vehicle. ETH's kind of the same way. You can sit on it. You can also use it as gas fees for work on the chain.
Hmm.
Whereas Bitcoin is more along the lines of your gold, right? I can hand it to you, you can hand it back, and obviously that's a little different because you can use use gold too, but there's really no other utility value. So
Right,
I kind of
right.
love the commodity aspect of ETH. I always have, honestly.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think I hope you're just opening up more highways, more lanes into your ecosystem as well. So I think it just increases the access that users might have to some of their funds that are located on other networks by putting this bridge in place. So
Oh yeah,
I was,
wild speculation, of course.
of course, but yeah, I'm feeling really good about this announcement. Probably more so than any of the other AMA notes, to be honest.
Yeah, so I'm seeing questions in here about bot talk on the AMA. That's definitely something we should get into.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So what's your
Um,
take on that?
so it feels like, you know, they're admitting that the playability of the game kind of stinks right now, and they don't like bots, but they understand that it would be, I think the way that Dreamer put it is that it would be against kind of the Web3 protocols to start a seek and destroy style mission to go hunt out botters out there. It would just kind of violate, the theme of Web3. So I have a feeling that they are going to eventually put measures in place that allow, and they said this, in the AMA notes, that allow for more queuing and better quality of life hero management techniques. And if they do that, I think they're going to curb the appeal for a lot of bots. Because right now,
That's
bots cost money. I'm a paid subscriber of Diffkey. I have not hid that. And, if I could have easy queuing for all of my heroes and I could log on once a day and that saves me $50 a month, sorry, Thanos, I'm probably going to do that. And so I feel like the solution is relatively simple from a profession questing standpoint. And that's how I use bots. Now, I see that there's
interesting.
like a legitimate gripe about the leaderboards and using bots to, game the leaderboard, so to speak. And I think that they could pretty easily add like some element of, like not like a captcha, like how many stop signs do you see in this picture before you finish your quest. But I think they could add some elements of human interaction that require humans to be there into the leaderboard aspect, and that would solve that as well. I think they're all important, but this is clearly not their biggest fish to fry. They're trying for parity on Crystal Vale and then selling Serendale to another chain.
So the biggest thing for me that I so here's the rub for me. They say that they're not a huge fan of bots and that they're trying to entertain, and people have this idea of like a long-term queuing mechanism, right? Well, then you go up and you read the notes or you listen to them talk, and they're saying that, oh, it's our transaction counts are the metric that most people want to hear, and that's what's driving our value up as a game that's going to give us money effectively from this other chain that they're going to purchase. It's kind of like they're purchasing a share of DFK, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to release an auto quester thing that allows you to queue a hero long term, you're going to just absolutely destroy your transaction count unless that thing takes an absolute ton of gas to stop. So I don't see them doing that. I think that they might say they don't like bots, but I think they absolutely love the transaction count that bots are driving on their
Mm.
game. It's what's keeping them alive, honestly.
That's a great take, and I totally agree. I didn't even think about it from that kind of financial incentive aspect of it for them, and I wonder what, could you come up with a smart contract that if you're going to queue your quests up, well, I guess if you queue your quests up like long term, you could like sign the contracts in advance.
Sure, or you have to deposit a bunch of Jewel with it
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
going to burn off, you
right.
know, and then they'll kick out, maybe they kick out of the quest when your jewel runs out.
Right.
Otherwise, you can stop them. I mean, there's ways they could do it, but like I just feel like the metric that they keep talking about is transactions per
Hmm.
day. And if
And
you
those are
start
bots,
trying
yeah.
to, they're bots. It's totally bots.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great point. And it's a bit of a catch 22, and I think when it comes down to like things like the future of the game, as we've always stated, is going to be combat. And probably to a certain extent PvE. And I would guess that PvE quests are complex enough that you can't program a bot to do it, because it's going to be sending you to go forage acorns from the northwest corner of the map. And I think while it's like silly callback to RPG quests, I think the reality is like they're going to be unique enough that you won't be able to get bots in front of it to to program that. And then on the combat side of things, I think it's going to have enough player choice and skill needed that you can't really set up a bot for that either. So I think this will solve itself in the long run, and they're really not that worried. And like you're saying, financially incentivized to just let it fly.
Yeah, I think those are great points. That the nature of these future features will probably help make botting not as advantageous. But, I mean, we've talked in the past about these different roles as a game player, and
Mm,
some people just want to have that role of the producer. Like, we need materials out there in the market. And so I think they'll do a good job of making those valuable as best as they can, and they can tweak things over time. Like the more features that come out, like maybe crafting, once that comes out, maybe there's certain items that are over accumulating in wallets and they can see all those metrics. They'll require these things to be crafted using an absorbent amount of, like, I don't know, iron scale, because nobody's using iron scale right now.
right, for sure. All right. Honestly, not too much else stuck out to me on the uh, notes for AMA. Anything else that you want to touch on?
I was just looking back through the comments here on Discord, or sorry, on YouTube rather, if there's anything else that jumps out. I don't think I had a whole lot else either. I feel like there was one more thing. If it comes to me, I'll bring it up.
Sure thing. All right, so that's it for the AMA notes, and time to go to giveaway time. So we are going to do a giveaway of it came up in today's AMA, the Eternal Pages. And so they are working on this. It is in the pipeline of things that they're going to do. And we decided that we are going to give away tonight a full set of the Eternal Pages. So pages 1 through 9 for one of you lucky listeners out there. So on YouTube, this is a YouTube only right now. So we have 13 viewers right now. So let's go ahead and Zilfred's saying what happened to Jewel speculation. So let's put a pin in the
Oh yeah,
giveaway,
we'll come back.
and let's go to Jewel speculation. Sergeant Filthy McNasty's coming in with some game development company partnership was interesting. Yeah, I
That's
thought
the
those are
one.
good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the one I wanted to bring up. There it is. Uh-huh.
Yeah, let's. So Jewel speculation. I think Jewel, like Frisky, I think started the AMA. They're thinking about changing the transaction fee cost to increase it on DFK chain. I think everyone has been surprised with how low the transaction fees were to to start things off. So I think if it goes to like 1/100th of a jewel, that would be a good thing. And I think that Jewel's going to be okay. I really do. I think if they get to another chain, I think Jewel's going to pump. My plan. This is not financial advice, but my plan is I'm hoping to see Jewel prices of $1 again, and that's probably when I'm going to start my profit off ramp strategy. So I think Jewel's going to come back, and that's probably when I'm going to start taking profits from the game again.
Yeah, it's hard because, we all remember, well, people who've been around for a while, you remember times when Jewel was really high and now really low. So it's where's that mark where you're like, this is in a good spot. I, you know, I have no idea what that is for me anymore. I did have a point, and then it's gotten blown past, and now it's I don't know. Yeah, there's so much, and the other thing too that we were talking about a little bit earlier before the show here, uh, we're really enjoying those jewel just rolling in, in the gardens, and
Right.
the actual gardeners on your garden quests, they can actually pull in a lot of jewel right now.
Free Jewel. Yeah.
So yeah, and that's right out of the quest fund. So that's not, from that's from all the summoning that we're all doing and from playing the game. We're kind of keeping that environment, that cycle of Jewel keeping rolling. And so that's kind of I get what they're saying that they might have to create a different token, but effectively it's going to be Jewel. And that's kind of what I feel like Frisky said is that if it has to morph or you have to convert from something to something, it's still just going to be Jewel. It's going to be the same amount. It's going to have the same utility. So I don't really feel like there's going to be much of a change per se. I think it's just kind of going to be a rebranding more or less. So
Mm.
I don't
Yep.
think there's a whole lot to read into that, but I do like the idea of moving up the fees a little bit. Um, Honestly, it's because it's kind of like I'm used to paying here in the Midwest, right? Gas was over $4 for quite a while, right? And now that it's under four again, I'm like, wow, this is cheap. And if you would have told me a year ago, I'm telling you that $3.80 gas is cheap, I'd have called you crazy.
Right. All relative.
Yeah, and so I think they're kind of hitting on that a little bit too. That hey, maybe returning a gardener doesn't need to cost 0.007 joule. Maybe it could be 0.01 joule.
Hmm.
And okay, yeah. So, there's some room there.
Yeah, so let's transition to the game development company partnership. It does sound like they dropped a lot of hints towards working with a game developer to do some of the future battle. I'll be honest that was something that I saw Samich tweeted about in his link to his notes. I really breezed through the notes fast, so I feel pretty oh more than usual unqualified to discuss this topic right now.
Yeah, the one thing, so yeah, I'm with you. I don't know much about game development. But what I could say is I think we've all kind of had an inkling that maybe this development team is extraordinarily sound on blockchain development. But my biggest risk is, does it actually know how to make a video game? And I think that's kind of been one of the nagging things on my back in the back of my mind that's made me a little skeptical when everything else is making me say buy, buy, buy.
Hmm.
But now announcing, hearing them talk that, hey, look, we're going to be able to bring in, external developers, help with the game aspects for honestly cents on the dollar, they made it sound like. That might be the biggest benefit to this game that this would actually, this whole kerfuffle might end up actually being of actual solid value to the Kingdom Studios team in a sense that they can actually get support they need without having to pay full price for it.
Mm, right. I like that. All right. Well, shall we go to the giveaway?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. I do not have a. I'm kind of up in the air on the fly here. So, do you have
Oh,
a
I've got
giveaway
one.
question? You got one. Excellent.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I think you and I are gonna pick our. So again, as always, everybody, if you're gonna post a response here to enter into this giveaway, you put your Discord name in and your answer, right? We want to make sure we do that. Um, but I think you and I are gonna pick between our favorite quote from the movie Money Pit. I don't know how we can.
All right.
Now, feel free to search it because you guys might not all have seen Money Pit, but I've seen it a number of times, and there's some pretty solid ones. Might be a
Oh,
little bit more of a stretch than Monty Python, but
I like it's coming back. It's flowing in and coming back to me now.
yep. So do we have any other questions while we wait on people to find their best quote here? What do we got?
Yeah. Let's. Yeah, we do have another question. Here, Defiant Vixen saying, "Are you in Serendale LPs? I'm afraid to pair with non-DFK tokens if the worst were to happen to Harmony. Sucks to send my gardeners on training quests instead." Sad face.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. There have been a lot of bridge hacks lately, and I mean, another one could happen. They could, because technically, any non-native token on Harmony is a wrapped token, and the same sort of thing could
Right.
happen. I don't know though. I mean, I feel like sure, lightning could strike again, and it has struck other places, but I don't. I'm not super nervous about it. I guess I just kind of it's just one of those kind of things that you live with in crypto, I think, unless you're literally with ETH on ETH or, AVAX on AVAX. Like if you're doing anything other than just holding the native token, you're going to have this susceptibility. So I guess me personally, I don't worry too much. Um, but I get the fear there, especially with if Harmony loses too many projects. I think it
Mm-hmm.
would take a really, really lot for it to actually like fold up and
Greater.
stop validating blocks, though. I don't think that's going to happen in the near future.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a possibility. I feel like it's like 240% APRs that they have going on right now. I'm 90% in Serendale, so I feel like I'm taking the risk, and if we start to sniff out like the risk getting more extreme, then maybe I'll start pulling out of some of the other tokens. But as it stands right now, hanging tough.
Yeah, and those returns being juicier than they are in Crystal Vale is also another thing um, that makes it tough too, because you're like, ooh, I could go over there and put it in an LP pool, but A, you can't garden it, and B, the percentages are smaller in Crystal Vale right now. So it's like, oh, it's tough, no doubt.
All right, so I'm jumping into Money Pit, and I thought I knew what this money was, or this movie was, and I have not seen this movie. So
Oh, really? Oh, you
you're,
gotta watch it.
yeah, I'm
It's
I'm
some
really
classic
excited.
Tom Hanks.
It's from Tom Hanks. I'm really looking forward to that. So, give me a Reader's Digest version. What's the what happens in the movie?
Yes, so basically, Tom Hanks and his wife, uh, they kind of get convinced to buy this like it kind of looks like a mansion, uh, and effectively, as soon as they buy it, they get it super cheap, and as soon as they buy it, like literally everything they touch breaks, falls apart, or starts on fire, and it's kind of the process of them fixing things and going through absolute terrible contractors who don't necessarily. The one I'll give one away. One of them is always like, "How long is that going to take?" And the one guy's always like, "2 weeks," and he says 2 weeks for the entire movie, and it's like, yeah, we've all had those contractors.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so personal favorite quote from this one that I don't know. My dad and I always say it. He's out in the backyard of his house, and it's just kind of like some chaos has been going on, and he leans against a tree, and even the
Wait,
tree
wait, wait,
falls
wait,
over,
wait.
and it's
Do you want to say it yet, or do you want this to be the answer?
oh, I'll say it, and
Okay.
we'll see. There's so many, but basically, he leans on the tree, and they fall over, and it causes this cascade. And after all the chaos, he goes in and he looks at his wife, and he goes, "We have weak trees." It's like, uh, it's like, oh gosh. Uh, oh,
Oh.
that's a good one. I like the last one. I forgot about that line. Hasta pronto, if you know what I mean. Uh, the stairs are out. Oh yeah. Their spiral staircase collapses on him at one point.
I gotta watch this now. Although it might be striking a little too close to home.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this here. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Is this reality? The
uh,
new DQ Reese's Take 5
oh, it's too good.
Blizzard with 5 levels of
All right.
All right. Well, I'm gonna let you pick because I certainly I come a little unprepared.
That last one. Capitalizing on another human being's misfortune. That's a great one.
Oh, that's good.
That's the basis of real estate. I can picture that scene. Honestly, that might have it so far,
Excellent.
unless someone's got something else coming in. The two classic lines, yeah, the 2 weeks and weak trees. Those are my two go-tos.
All
All
right.
right.
Yeah,
What do you think? Should we call it?
call it.
Renpen number 213 in Discord. Send me an OX and we'll get you a full set of the Eternal story pages.
We'll
I
slowly,
shouldn't.
slowly
I shouldn't
start
say that.
setting them over. Yeah. Oh, 1 through 9.
Right. Number 10's not out yet. If I had it, I'd maybe give it to you, but I don't.
May-
Have 10's not out
Maybe.
yet.
We're not sure. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Okay.
Cool. Awesome.
We're gonna jump into summons night now. So go jump over onto Discord, and we're gonna be going through community summons. So jump onto the general chat on Discord. It's linked in the description of YouTube right now. And then over there, we're gonna just be sharing screens like we usually do, and going to hopefully get a hype train rolling. We had a strong first 2 summons nights, and we kind of fell off here on the third one. So hopefully we're bringing it back and coming in hot tonight. All right.
Bet.
Well, that's it for the stream. So I'm going to close this out now. Oh, Renpen Acoustics, you are messaging Neindorf over on Discord.
You bet. Yeah. Send me your OX and we'll get you hooked up with the set of pages.
Well, Kuro, sorry you missed a giveaway. Come jump over onto the Discord channel for Summons Night, and we're gonna have some fun still.
Sometimes if you get a flop summon and we got enough people around, people have a tendency to maybe give away heroes too. So
That's true.
sometimes the fun doesn't end.
That is absolutely true. All right, see you guys over there on Discord.